So, throughout the course of this year, I've been sharing my interests and passions with you all, one by one, through my videos. Japanese study, anime, Persona 5, art books, my Switch games, traveling to Japan, Studio Ghibli, but there is still one little topic I've yet to properly touch on. One piece of my personality I haven't shared with you yet. This is a series that is incredibly dear to my heart, has brought myself and many others boundless joy, and has even saved me during some of my darkest moments. Of course, I am talking about the one, the only, One Piece. Created by the incredibly talented Eiichiro Oda and beloved by many people all over the world, it's undeniable that One Piece has brought so many people joy and entertainment. It's been going on non-stop for over 25 years and has such compelling world building, storytelling, and amazing characters. Everyone knows about it, and many people have been following it for such a long time. And wow, what a surprise! I, Cameron, the anime fan, am a fan of the biggest anime of all time. Shocker. Well, it actually kind of is. A bit, since I'm quite a recent fan of the series. But man, I fell for One Piece hard. And hey, since it is Christmas, and Christmas is the season of joy, why not talk about One Piece? It fits the mood, since One Piece has given me so much joy, and has connected people through the infectious joy of the story, its world, and its characters. I'm so excited to talk about One Piece. It generally makes me so happy, so let's get right into it. How did I first get into One Piece? Well, I only actually became a fan about 2 years ago during my final year of uni. I remember seeing it on TV as a kid in the infamous 4Kids dub. I would see it on Toasted TV in Australia, and I remember thinking, oh yeah, I remember seeing a lot of this show. Like, I remember the gist of it, everything, right? When I actually got around to reading and watching it, I realized I had only seen the first episode. But it left such a big impression on me, so I think that is very telling for One Piece. There is that meme that everyone always jokes about, oh, it gets good at episode 500. Well, no, One Piece is good from episode 1, but it gets amazing a bit later on. So during my final year of uni, between semesters, I was visiting home, and there was a lot of memes going around about One Piece at that moment. You may remember them. The whole going up much higher, so high, that kind of thing. Yeah, that was happening, and my friend was obsessed with the Yayo Yayo pirate rap from the Forked Stub. So I was like, you know what? Let's give it a go. Let's read One Piece, and let's see what all the fuss is about. I always found the art style bit interesting, and I wanted to read it. I remember hearing that it got good at Arlong Park, so I gave it a read and was like, yeah, it's okay, but I wasn't really hooked by Arlong Park. I thought it was kind of whatever, right? So I left it, and I thought I was done with One Piece. But then, I came back to it. Something about it just stuck with me. I stopped at Reverse Mountain, but then I was kind of reading again. And then, while I was working on an assignment, I was like, well, I want to put something on in the background. So I put on where I was up to in the manga, but in the anime, and that was the Alabaster Arc. And oh boy, the Alabaster Arc. For me, this is where One Piece went from okay, pretty good, to amazing. This was surreal for me. I didn't think it was possible to be in my 20s and discover something that just meshed so well with me that I hadn't discovered before, and something that felt so unique and so original and so exciting and just felt brand new and refreshing, and I couldn't fathom it. It was something I hadn't seen in such a long time. Alabaster Arc in One Piece is truly something special. It feels like the culmination of an entire story. It felt like it could have been the end of the story, but it was only a tenth of the way through. When I realized that, it hit me. I got One Piece. I knew I was in for an amazing epic and a story that would change me. So I fell for One Piece, and I fell hard. It grabbed me by the balls and dragged me along to this current day. I was obsessed with it. I remember watching Skypiea in bed and getting super hyped seeing the 6 people that made to fight Enel. I remember getting to Water 7 and just loving the arc so much. I watched 32 episodes in a single day. I ate whole tubs of ice cream while watching One Piece. Probably not very good for my health, but I did it regardless, and I had so much fun. And yes, One Piece is long. It took me 2 years to catch up. I started in June or July of 2022 and only caught up this year in September of 2024. But man, it was an amazing journey and I don't regret any moment of it. Now that I've caught up, I'm kind of lost of what to do with myself. One Piece has taken up so much of my life for the past few years, and now that I'm caught up, I'm reading it and watching it weekly like everyone else is. But it's not the same. I feel a bit lost without it. And that's just because of how much of a profound impact One Piece has had on my life. Very few pieces of media have hit me as hard as One Piece has, and has touched me as emotionally as One Piece has. I can't count the amount of times One Piece has made me cry. The world is just so rich, and you get so invested in the story and these characters. I love the Straw Hat Pirates. I've spent more time with them than I have with my real life friends because there's 1,000 episodes. I've spent hundreds of hours with them. And it really feels like One Piece has grown a lot since I got onto it. It felt like I got into it right as it hit a big growing point. I joined the fandom right during 2022 when Film Red was releasing, and I found it just grew further, and people started to really appreciate the legacy of One Piece and how high quality it actually is. Through things like the live action and the anime, it's had a real resurgence in quality, and I think that's really reached a lot of people and gotten them excited to get into One Piece. There's just so much passion put into the story, and it feels like the people working on the anime reciprocate the love and passion we have for the series and pour so much into it. Now, I can't really talk about One Piece without talking about some of the characters and how much joy they've brought me. And who else is better to start with than Joy Boy himself, right? Luffy. At face value, he seems like a default kind of anime protagonist. He's very headstrong, he loves eating, he loves fighting. But as you start to watch it, you realize that Luffy is a bit more different. He develops quite a lot throughout the story. He becomes very emotionally intelligent. And he's very simple-minded, yes, but he's very pure, in a sense, in how he cares for others and is so passionate about what he believes in. It's very inspiring. You can feel how much he enjoys life on the pages and on the screen. For me, it ties a little bit more personally. Luffy, physically and personality-wise, reminded me a lot of my best friend growing up. Since high school and going on to adult lives, we're no longer close or really in contact so much anymore. But reading and seeing Luffy really reminded me of our friendship. And I can see childhood fondness and nostalgia through Luffy and those good memories I had with my friend. And that extends to the rest of the show. One Piece is like hanging out with an old friend. It's always there for you. But Luffy isn't even my favorite character. That would be Sanji. Yeah, he's a little controversial, but us Sanji fans, we're tight, right? We know how bad he is, we know how bad we've got it, but we love him all the same, right? He's amazing. I feel he's had some of the best development out of any of the Straw Hats. From the beginning, as a kid, I always thought he was cool. He was in a suit and he kicked. I thought that was awesome. Put a character in a suit and that's gonna be my favorite character by default. So Sanji is 100% my favorite character. Yes, he's very flawed, but he also has a lot of charming aspects to him. I thought he was so cool how he'd go off and do his own thing, and then it'd be helpful for the team and the crew later on down the track. And even emotionally, he has a lot going on, thanks to arcs like Whole Cake. He's grown from a gag character at times to being a very deep, rich, and well-rounded character that has made me cry numerous times. No character has quite made me cry like Sanji, although one comes very close. That would be Nico Robin. Everyone loves Robin. The crew fought to save her and keep her, and the fandom would do the exact same, I know it. Robin and Enies Lobby, Water 7, the arcs that really focus on her, came to me at a very tumultuous time in my life. I was graduating university, and I didn't know what I was going to be doing with my life. I really struggled. I had that post-university depression. It was the darkest point I'd ever had in my life. And during that time, I could very much relate to Robin and what she was going through during that arc. But seeing the rest of the Straw Hats come to save her and want to see her live and fight to see her live really changed my perspective on things. It really hit home and struck a chord with me. it made me realize that I did have people like that in my life who cared for me. And watching One Piece, is having something so consistent and being able to follow it through and knowing it'll be there for me, because there's a million episodes, was able to be some form of solidarity and give me peace during that really tumultuous time. And as a result, Robin is one of my favorite characters of all time. I think she is an amazing character, beyond the struggle she went through. I just love seeing her happy post-time skip, because it reminds me that I can be happy in my life as well. And one of the controversial, I guess, aspects of One Piece for some people would be the art style. It can be a bit of a barrier of entry to people. They find it a bit childish, but I always found it quite appealing. All the characters, they have big expressions and silly faces often, but that's because the characters wear their emotions on their sleeve so much, and they're truly themselves with all their being. They express emotions as much as they possibly physically can, and even with Luffy, beyond that with his stretching powers. That's something I really appreciate, and it's something that kind of ties into this joyous feeling of One Piece for me. And seeing the art and the story evolve and the characters evolve, it's obviously very inspiring. It inspires me for storytelling. I've made a whole D&D campaign, homebrew, based off of One Piece and its world, but with my own flares and throwing all my inspiration into it like Oda does. Things that I liked as a child into it, and just having fun with things, storytelling and games and creativity, and that's all thanks to One Piece. I'm sure many others have felt the same. And one aspect of One Piece that I feel is quite underrated and has allowed me to explore a whole new medium of media in my life is the soundtrack. I feel it doesn't get enough appreciation in the anime. It's thanks to the music that I find One Piece to be so emotional. If it wasn't for the music, I wouldn't cry as much as I have. I often listen to just isolated pieces of the soundtrack and find myself tearing up or crying, just thinking about the scenes, the stories, the characters, what I've gone through in my own life, and it's very powerful and very sweet. Part of what got me into One Piece, in fact, was the music. When Film Red was coming out, I was seeing a lot of Instagram reels and TikToks about Uta, and of course Uta's singing voice is voiced by Ado, who is a very popular J-pop singer. Now, I was never really into music much growing up. I just didn't get it, and nothing really interested me. But hearing Uta, and then by extension discovering Ado, was the first music that I really, really enjoyed, and really came to like. And that led to me discovering the whole J-pop industry, and which was what made me get really into music. I love J-pop music, and just Japanese music as a whole, and it's thanks to One Piece and Ado that I got into that. Ado's like my favorite singer of all time. She's very important to me and brings me a lot of joy as well, and that all ties back to One Piece. In addition, One Piece kind of brings people together, or at least in my life it has. Thanks to getting into it and looking up theories and questions about the world because it was so intriguing, I discovered so many amazing YouTube creators and artists through One Piece. Because it's such a popular anime, it's easy to bring it up when talking about anime and on the subject of that. Everyone will have a favorite character, or everyone at least has seen a little bit or knows a bit about it, and there's many, many fans. So whenever I find another One Piece fan, I get so excited and just talking about it. Yes, the One Piece brain rot is real. Whenever I hear One Piece, my neuron activates, my brain goes stupid. It happened, yeah, it's real. Yeah, I'm obsessed with One Piece, that happens to you. The memes are real, but I've been able to make so many friends and talk to so many people I wouldn't have otherwise thanks to One Piece. My best example was when I was in Japan last year. I was in countryside Hokkaido, middle of nowhere, and I was talking to these two guys in Japanese, and I brought up that I watch One Piece, and then they were reluctant at first, but we started going on a big discussion about our favorite characters, our favorite arcs and everything, and they even gave me a little One Piece trading card they just had lying around as a little gift, and I keep that as a memento of that time and the good experience I had with them. Going to Japan, seeing the One Piece stores, the dedicated One Piece section in every anime store was great. I've had managers that I've gotten to be able to talk about One Piece with, co-workers I've been able to talk about One Piece with. It brings us all a little bit closer, and one of the best experiences was when I went to the One Piece Symphony this year. two of my friends and myself went, and it was my first time seeing a proper full orchestra, and it was amazing. I teared up many times. I'm a big fan of the One Piece soundtrack, and I have lots of personal favorites. Seeing them appear, seeing them be played, and having all those other people knowing they were One Piece fans surrounding me, it was so magical. And they even did a sing-along for We Are and Bingsu no Sake, which was done in Japanese, so it had Romaji subtitles, but people couldn't really sing along, so that was actually quite funny, and also gave me a good laugh. But One Piece has just brought me so much joy and happiness in my life, and I'd love to hear if it has done the same for you too. I love to talk about it with anybody. It gets me so excited. Nothing really gets me excited quite like One Piece does. So, thank you for letting me ramble here today to you all about it. It was a little bit of a tangential video here and there, but I hope my joy was a bit contagious for you. Because really, that's what the joy in One Piece is to me. It's contagious. The world is so contagious in how full of life it is. And the characters are so inspired and have so much personality. The story is so motivating, uplifting, heartbreaking, funny, epic. It's just great. And I can't help but feel that joy in my own life and feel that joy when I talk to others about One Piece. And that's really one of the most magical things about it. So please, let me know in the comments below. Are you a fan of One Piece? If you are, what has it done for you? Has it brought you joy? Has it connected you with any other people? I'd love to hear your stories and talk to you about it down there. And if you haven't watched One Piece, I'd say give it a go. Yes, it can be a little daunting, but I think it's 100, 1,000, 1,000,000% worth it. One Piece is the best return on investment I can think of, and you will be smiling ear to ear countless times throughout it.